David Callaghan! And a huge round of applause for your host and compere, Mr. Alfie Jury. So, I had to stop doing stand-up comedy for about 2 months earlier on this year because my girlfriend broke up with me. Yeah. Actually gets worse than that. We went out for 8 months, 8.5 months, and she decided to break up with me through the medium of text message. Yes. That is the usual reaction that's got. A lot of my friends said to me, ooh, text, that's the worst way you can break up. Ooh, text, that's the worst way you can break up with someone. How unimaginative do you have to be to think that text message is the worst way you can break up with someone? I can think of loads of worse ways. At knife point, that's the worst way. I like the idea of breaking up with someone via recorded post for putting one too few stamps on the letter. They have to go down to the post office, pay £1 to receive the rejection. Via bomb threat, that's the worst way. Via look-alike, that's my favourite worst way. That's why, right, if ever I'm going out with someone in the future and they go, ooh, text, that's the worst way you could break up with someone. I'll be like, here, open this box, and they'll go, ah, bees! I'm like, I don't want to see you anymore! So 2014, not been a great year for me. I have now got to a stage of loneliness in my life that occasionally, when I have my dinner, I'll get my laptop out, go on Google Images, type in the words, kind man, put the picture full screen, and put the laptop the other side of the table so I have someone to eat with. Now that is admittedly sad, isn't it? Until you factor in my ridiculous brain, which very much took that idea and ran with it, so that to date I have had dinner parties with Judi Dench, Barack Obama, Gandhi and Hitler, and they are all impeccable listeners. Once had a dinner party with Nicole Kidman, but that is when I misspelt kind man. It's been an awful year. I say the best thing that's happened to me in the last 5.5 months, best thing that's genuinely, is I got defrauded earlier on this year. Got my card cloned, right? The people who defrauded me made 73 different charges on my card, and they were all declined! What you are looking at is a man who makes so little from comedy he cannot even be stolen from! Bring it on, international credit thieves! You are messing with someone who has literally nothing to lose! It's been awful. I've got a theory, right? Being alone for the first time in a really long time, I've got a theory that the way we like other people to view us is like the way you would look at an 18th century house, you know? Beautiful from the outside, then more and more interesting the further you explore. Now, I'm actually a very showy-off, arrogant man, but I know the only thing that I share with an 18th century house is there are holes in me that have been previously used to hide priests. I thought I knew how to live. Ian, thanks very much. I thought I knew. I'll get you one at a time. I thought I knew how to live, genuinely. I thought I did, but I don't, you know? I don't know the best way to live anymore. My uncle, of course, he thought he'd found the best way to live. He decided to lose himself in his work, but he worked for the Coast Guard. His body's never been found. The other day, I actually found myself, I realised that I had sat down and spent a whole afternoon reading through the entirety of Dave Benson Phillips's webpage. Yeah. So remember Dave Benson Phillips? Yes. Yeah, one or two, right, you can attest. Wait, you do, sir. Right, does anyone not know who he is? Yeah. Right, Dave Benson Phillips, right, he used to present a children's game show in the 1990s called Get Your Own Back. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. If you've never seen it, this is what Get Your Own Back's like. Imagine if they set the film Saw in the Wacky Warehouse. Imagine if the film Saw was directed by Dave Benson Phillips. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Dave Benson Phillips is a man who ostensibly has not been on television since 1999. That makes him very much one of the last millennium celebrities, like Henry VIII. So, it's my favourite joke in the set. It never gets a laugh, but I keep it in because I've got integrity. Right, I sat down I read through the whole of Dave Benson Phillips's webpage. I genuinely recommend this. It's as hilarious as it is tragic, right? There's one gem in it, and it's called FAQs of DBP, Frequently Asked Questions of Dave Benson Phillips. Now, before I read this, I assumed the only frequently asked question of Dave Benson Phillips was, have you been actively seeking work in the last 2 weeks? So many more. First question on Dave Benson Phillips's frequently asked questions is, do you present Ready, Steady, Cook? To which Dave Benson Phillips replies, no, that's Ainsley Harriott. And it's as good and as crushed as that. I imagine you could add the words, now please fuck off at the end. It would not change the tone one iota. The second question on Dave Benson Phillips's frequently asked questions is, are you married to Dawn French? To which Dave Benson Phillips replies, no, that's Lenny Henry. So let's consider for a second, ladies and gentlemen, how tragic Dave Benson Phillips's life now is. On his own, poorly designed, hard to navigate webpage, he has to differentiate himself from other black celebrities. And then I noticed an email address at the bottom of the page, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to send Dave a couple of questions of my own. First question I asked Dave Benson Phillips was, will there be a Blade 4? Next question I asked him, all in capital letters, why did you beat up Rihanna? And I signed it off with, congratulations on your re-election, love to Michelle and the girls. So, I still don't understand why Katie left. I don't know, I don't know the best way to live anymore, you know? Partly, you have to go back to basics, don't you? You've got to think about things that what you always wanted to do. I've only ever wanted one job in my life, and that's a job where you get to wear a hat. But because of the decline in the public sector, there's only two left. They're bus driver and Pope. So I thought I'd apply for both, but I'm quite lazy, so I only want to write one letter. So let's see if it works for both bus driver and Pope. Dear Sir, Madam, Bishop, I'm writing to inquire about becoming the driving force behind your intercity network. I think I'd be perfect for this job, as I'm a homophobic old man who enjoys sitting behind sheets of glass. My aptitude for this position is assured by the fact that I'm completely unwilling to accept change. I can see no feasible way of stopping paedophiles from getting on board. Even if I know they are a convicted paedophile, I'll probably end up just moving them to another city. In fact, I see that as integral to the job. I understand the challenges that come with this position. Fully accept that middle-class parents often utilise your service to get their kids into school. That's great. You can all fuck off. I mean, if laughter is going to degrade at that level, because we're only there, you know, and we can see we've got stuff here. It's only going to get shit, isn't it? All I'm saying is, think about yourselves. I mean, I've done that now, which makes it worse. Deconstruct it and take all the joy out of the room. And this is getting worse every time. The more I address it, the worse it gets. Maybe stop addressing it, but I can't. There's something in me. I always enjoy the looks on the public's faces when someone in my would-be position does turn up in their town. Generally one's of utter relief, as despite the details of the visit being published up to a year in advance, the actual arrival is still unbelievably rare and unexpected. Please find enclosed a picture of me on a Route Master 267, tutting an independent businesswoman and criticising her for having periods. Yours sincerely, David Callaghan. But hopefully, I'll get that. I don't know. I think the most important thing that I've learned from this year is to learn from your mistakes. If I didn't learn from the mistakes that I made in relationships, I still think that writing an erotic poem was a good idea. I still think that when you fingered a girl, you had to put as many fingers in as possible and wear her like some kind of gigantic heavy mixed glove. But as we all know, the golden rule is, it's the same as sugar in tea. 2's plenty, 3 if you're a builder. There is one mistake. There is one mistake that I genuinely do regret. I remember walking through the park one day with Katie, and she decided it'd be a really nice idea for us to carve our names into a tree. like teenagers did in the 1950s, in fiction. So, Katie went first. She got the penknife out, she carved in Katie loves. She handed the penknife to me to put in David. But I didn't put in David, ladies and gents. I put in cock. I put cock in that tree. Yes, I know what I just said. That could have been a moment of us crystallising our love together forever. Instead, it turned one of me calling my girlfriend a slag in the most forestry way possible. And here's a joke that you can do. This is for yourselves. You do this in your own time, in your own lives. Do it and think of me. When me and my brother, we write cards for people inside our family. We'll put our names in age order, right? So he's older than me. He'll go first. So we'll write something like this. Dear Mum, happy birthday. Love from Richard and, which will hand the card to me to write in David. But I don't write. I write in some more information about Richard. So it says something like this. Dear Grandma, get well soon. Love from Richard and I'm naked as I write this. That's a great job. You can all do it yourselves. That's what I like to call the Callaghan special. I've been doing a Callaghan picture. What do you got?